It's not just about the music. It can't be just about the music. It's always about more than that. It's always about the story and the culture. And specifically what I'm talking about is like, well, one of my friends has a band that he really wants to grow an audience for. And he basically, anytime a strategy idea comes up for him, his defense is, well, I want it to be just about the music. That's what he always says. I want it to be just about the music. And I think this is a popular sentiment, especially among people who like went to music school, who really studied music in a deep way, who got really good at music, because I think there is kind of this like potentially false promise of like, oh, if you get good enough at music, then people will check it out. But I got really good at piano a long time ago, and I think deep down I realized pretty quickly it's not just about the music. You know, I realized I play a piano solo at a bar and people tune it out. Obviously not everyone, you know, people do check in, but people do kind of like have a difficult time digging into instrumental music, especially without culture or a story there to help facilitate it. So really what I mean is like, if you want to build a band, if you want to build a brand around a band, what you're actually doing is you're building a community by creating culture through telling your story. So one thing I learned at these festivals I've been at, and me and Brett talk about this, is music is a cover for culture. You know, and like basically when music is happening, people can congregate and create culture in the presence of the music. You know, think about if you've been to a concert or a festival event or whatever, like it's a space to be really vulnerable. Like I've had some really, really powerful conversations with members of Sneezy at a festival where there's a band playing and like everybody feels closer to each other, and it's like actually creates a space for us to say some truth to each other that we need to say. And you know, you go to an EDM festival and like what happens? All the girls are wearing next to nothing, everybody's doing drugs. It's like a cover for culture. Like the music is the excuse to put on a skimpy outfit and do drugs and go dance in the woods. You know, so like it's not just about the music. And like I think a lot of people, especially like trained musicians, really fail at this because they're like, oh, like the music's great, that should be good enough. Like, well, shoulds suck. Shoulds fucking suck. They don't mean anything, and it's not good enough. And 9 times out of 10, like, people aren't gonna care. But what they will care about is the story. You know, what they will care about is with Sneezy, Brett and Jack have been singing together since 1st grade. Every time every time Sneezy reposts that video of Brett and Jack singing in 1st grade, it automatically gets like 500 likes, tons of comments, like total banger, because of the story nested in it. It's like, wow, these two really have been making music together for like 20 years. You know, and people hear about how we get in the van, like we're driving all the way to Rhode Island this weekend. We tell people about that, people go, holy crap, like, what a story. You guys are so, you know, whatever. People say we're brave or we're like crazy or whatever, like, but we create a story by going and doing something powerful together, you know? Like, a few weeks ago we had somebody buy a t-shirt or a vinyl or something, and she lived in Chicago, so we drove to her house and handed it to her, and we filmed it, we posted it online. That's like a story right there. That's creating culture, right? That's like creating the culture that Sneezy is the type of band that loves their fans so much that they will hand deliver merch you buy online. The messaging in the songs is a lot of inspirational, hopeful, but not cheesy kind of stuff. It's like inspirational, playful, childlike. There's like all the messaging creates a culture and creates a story, and it's not just about the music. And like, I say this as somebody who's like pretty consistently the best piano player, best keyboard player in every room he's in. I go to these festivals, 10,000 people, and I'm the best keyboard player there, like by a wide margin. So I'm here to tell you, like, it's not just about the music. It's about far more than that. And like, if you want to build a audience and build a community, if you want to build an audience, you got to build a community. If you want to build an audience, you need to create things for people to rally around and things for people to stand on. And it can't just be like, oh, we make good music. You gotta think deeper than that. You know, story is actually the thing that sells anything. And the more I research marketing, the more I understand this. I remember reading Everything You Need to Know About the Music Business like 10 years ago, and the opening chapter was about story, and he said basically the most important thing is you can get your story together, because what's going to sell is your story. And I didn't really understand that, and I didn't really understand even that I had a story. I was like, oh, I don't know, I grew up in the suburbs and I played piano, and then I went to college and now I play piano professionally. But I didn't realize that, like, actually there's a lot more depth to my story when I really think about it. Like, realizing that because of my situation growing up, my mom was the music teacher at the elementary school. So I would get to the elementary school like an hour early before school and stay like 2 hours after school every day. And instead of taking the bus and playing, I actually like was stuck in the music room. So all I had was the piano. Stuck in the music room with my older sister who loved to bully me. So really all I had was the piano. It was like the only escape I had. It was the only way I could express myself through a lot of the day without, like, it was the way I could play, which like influenced the way I play piano. And just, you know, realizing like the impact some of my teachers had on me, and like certain stories, like story of here's a story like the time I learned in high school where I really learned in a personal way what it means to play music interactively. My teacher, Dan Carlsberg, he showed me some recordings and was showing me what to listen for, and then I went to my combo the next day and I said to myself, I'm only gonna play when I hear somebody play something that I can play back. And I remember the guitar player, we were in B flat, and I remember he went da dude, he played D, B flat as eighth notes, and I played it right back. And then he looked up at me and smiled, and it completely changed the direction of his solo. And that was the day I realized that if you really listen and you play very intentionally, you can shape what the other people are playing, and you can inspire the other people to listen too. That's a story right there that has like a lot of power. You know, the story about like my elementary school, recognizing that that was a weird way to grow up, and it got me intimately close to the piano in a way that I wouldn't have gotten if I had a more quote unquote normal upbringing, right? So these are all things. It's like I'm in the Sneezy story now, which is like, it's all good. Like, I guess what I'm saying is like your life has a story to it. You've done things. If you're a musician and you want to make a band, if you want to build a band, build a brand around a band, which you have to if you want to build an audience. You can't just be like, oh, I play good and I play in a bunch of different groups, because it's not going to stick. Nobody's going to care. Like, really think about your story. Really think about like, what have you overcome? Like, what means a lot to you? You know, like I was also always afraid of like embracing how much I loved nerd stuff, how much I loved video games, but like that could have been something that could have been more explicitly shown through the branding of the music. But yeah, I think I fell into the trap a lot of people fall into, which is like, I make this for everyone, and that can be true, but if you really get hyper specific about, I make this for everyone, but specifically I believe the people who will resonate with it the most are people who like X, Y, and Z, the people who are like ABC. So yeah, it's not all about the music. It can't be all about the music. You gotta like understand that, like, if you want people to fall in love with your music, offer them more than the music. Offer them a culture and a story. Love you guys.